Hello, hi, hola, Windows 10. So you've been to blender.org and recently downloaded Blender 2.9, but you had some others in there, Blender 2.8, or maybe you don't. But whatever the case, what you might be able to do is open the file location from your shortcut, press F2 and rename that thing 2.9. Have it drift to the top of the list as a newly installed program, and now your shortcut is called Blender 2.9. When you open Blender for the first time, or in my case, when it's installing itself as though no previous versions exist, you'll be confronted with all of these choices. What do you want to be default? Previously, Blender was right-click select, it made it special. Now it's left-click select, it makes it normal and easier for Maya and 3D Studio users to come to. The spacebar is play. Alt-A used to be play. These things are the way they are. Now it did remember some 2.83 settings, but I'm going to leave it just the way it is so that you and I can do this together. I like to see this full screen. Blender will run multiple instances, and perhaps being able to minimize and restore this in a pinch is something that's good for you. Maximizing and restoring is also very useful, but what I would like to do at the window is to toggle full screen. There are some other things in Edit for preferences which I tend to recommend, and one thing for the navigation was to do auto depth. Without auto depth, zooming into this cube goes like this, and now I'm inside the cube very suddenly with my mouse wheel. Auto depth now, going up to the cube, it gets me right up to the cube, but I don't go through the cube. Okay, that's a good start. Preferences, navigation, zoom to the mouse position. Without zooming to the mouse position, I decide I want to go and look at this camera. Oh, the camera just slid off to the left. Zoom to mouse position. I look at the scene, I decide I want to zoom to the camera. I put my mouse over it, and just like every other program that zooms to the mouse position, so too now does Blender. Shift mouse wheel, click and drag. I can now orbit around that object, change my mind, and more easily navigate the scene. Shift-C takes a look at everything in that scene. Once you have things the way you like them, you can save this as the startup file, and then you decide, I forgot something. I don't want to do Eevee every time. I'm still a cycles kind of person, and oh dear, I've got to use GPU compute. These are things that are very normal. Now, GPU compute, you swear you have a graphics card, but it's grayed out. Once again, Edit, Preferences, System, CUDA, there they are. It's now awake and visible. GPU compute is no longer watermarked. When you've made this change, you feel free and once again save that startup file. Another good thing about Blender is here in my 2.8 folder I have the hand chair I was just messing around with last night. This is 2.8. Well, it looks to me like I need to go up a level, create a new folder, and I'm going to call it 2.9 here. So things that happen here stay here. When I click something that was made in 2.8, what's going to happen? It opens in 2.9. How do I know it's 2.9? Look down in the corner. Bottom right-hand corner. 2.90.0. There's my hand chair. And if you're still watching and you're still curious and you just noticed because you're a regular Blender user that my son is a 16.6 strength, it's because of the following. It's when I look at a render and press N, I have access to scopes, and one of those scopes is a waveform that tells me how bright are those bright lights, and I can change it from the luminosity to the red, green, blue channels. Way up at the top of this is 100. When you hit 100, as this little teeny spot does, that is when you are clipping and the white is no longer available to be shown. Most of the time, everybody is using a light of 1. Don't. Stretch out. Get comfortable. A quick mention before I close out this quick video, and please bombard with questions. I want to take a quick look at the camera because with a left-click select on this image border right here, I can get into the camera, and the camera tab is available down here. I'm using a perspective camera. Normally I like to use a panoramic, but importantly is the location of this camera. If we take a look at units, which you can find here under the Scene Properties tab, switching from metric to imperial, for me, tells me that this camera is almost slightly over 16 feet in the air. If I'm interested in scale, and lately I am, I need that sucker to come down. I can click and drag right here. I might be about 6 feet tall, so putting it at about 5.5 feet tall feels kind of normal. I'm going to set that camera to look right at the cube. Shift C, press N to fold that tool shelf away. Once again, I can default, save that startup file, and confirm. I can keep doing this again and again and again, and no harm comes to Blender. Finally, when I quit, and I've made all the changes, I want to, this means save changes to an untitled file. We don't have to do that. When I go back into Blender, it is named 2.9, making it stand out from any other installations of Blender. And now, the default scene with the default cube, now everything is as we made it. There's other tweaks that I would do. Anyway, welcome to Blender 2.9. Let's party with this together. Just installed. Blend on, man. Thanks for watching.
Once again, return all feedback and turn tables to their most upright and